Hey guys, it's me, Maple. Of course. And in this video, I'm going to be painting some Warhammer minis, specifically Death Guard. I did record some of this, but it was even worse of a setup than this. The lighting is far superior in this one, and I'm trying my best to get the camera to focus. This is one of the first minis. This is I think this is just a rather regular Plague Marine with a Blight Cleaver or whatever. I didn't want to go with the default Death Guard look. I'm still not done with this guy. I'm gonna put like blood on that white loincloth sort of thing. I'm gonna make the gloves black, probably. I'm gonna add rust to a lot of the metal. Why is the camera doing that? I hate this camera so much. That bone, those little skulls are a little too white for me. There's other small details I need to add and touch up, but for one of the first minis I've ever painted, it's not too bad. This camera would ever focus, and I wouldn't have dropped it. I really like the backpack. I'm still trying to figure out like the theme I'm going for, because the backpack and the cleaver don't really match the purple aesthetic that I got going on. So I could just leave them like white. I didn't give them a white base coat. Almost all of my minis. Almost every single one of my minis had a white base coat, except for like these two, which I have been painting white, and it's not that good. I think I painted them enough white that, you know, the details will pop out. Now they have like a shading / highlight to them. So if I do thin layers of paint, maybe that'll stick out. I'm not sure. I could paint those two today. Let's see, I think this was my first Poxwalker that I fully painted. I'm not really gonna do anything else to him because I have 30 of these guys, and eventually I might have 40 or more. But I love the drenched in blood effect. I did the same to the other one, and I'm gonna be adding like a splattering effect because I covered that part in white because it was a little too bloody, too soaked in blood. So I whitened it up again, and I still have small details to add to the weapon, but this is a very awkward setup right now. Not like it's ever not an awkward setup. This is another Poxwalker. I hate having to mess around to get this camera to focus. It's got like iron and hammered copper on the arm. It's got purple, pink, green going on here. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything else but rust this guy a bit and maybe like touch up some of the green. Like, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to waste time on the Poxwalkers. Or like maybe I'll save them for the last ones when like I still want to paint. Like if I still want to paint. Like this is what I was doing. I did that with two of my Space Marines, as I painted them all purple pretty much. And I tried this pink on the gun, this particular Turbo Dork Bubblegum Crisis. It's like a glittery pink. I was hoping it was gonna look like that, but it's just a very thin, extremely glittery pink, so it looks kind of stupid. So I don't recommend Turbo Dork paint. That's they're not accurate to what they show. Not even a little bit. Army Painter and Citadel are great, although Citadel has recently change their recipe for their paints without telling anybody. So keep that in mind. And also Citadel is extremely expensive in comparison to like every other paint, but the Army Painter is pretty good. And all their paints have been great. That's like most of the paints that I'm using on here. To get the rust effect on the axe, I'm using just their dry rust effect. And it's been pretty good. So I recommend it. I have 2 mini palettes right here that have not been used. We had some water. This is going to be clean water with a dropper to thin paints. This is going to be a mason jar full of water to clean brushes. These are the brushes that I currently have available to me, but there's more across the room hidden. I'm not going to be using too many of those, probably just like 2 at most. And this is a wet palette that Shelly just got. It came with a mustache sticker. I've never used this, neither has she. So, yeah, this thing is a little finicky. So I'm not really sure. I don't know if this is supposed to be used for anything, but this has a bunch of pockets all the way around it, and these 2, I guess, mixing stations, perhaps. Hopefully, this will keep paint wet for like a few days, which is really good if you have like, if you're trying to paint like a whole army a certain color and you need it to match, and it's like a mix. You want to use a wet palette, unless you plan on painting constantly and you can keep it wet. Now I don't know what I'm doing yet, so I brought it over just in case, because I've made a few colors that I'm using for multiple. Like this green, I had 2 different greens. A light green that I did like a base coat with, and then a dark green to add some shading of sorts. I have little bits and bobbles here and there that I have to touch up. And then I have all of my other minis that I have to paint eventually. Typhus, I didn't do the best job base coating him. He's got some gray here and there. Or priming him, I mean. But white really makes them pop out, and I love it. So what I'm going to do here, I think, is I'm going to take one of these fresher minis that I've painted the shoulder and some of the bone and the weapons a little bit. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to try to figure out how I want it, because like this guy added some dark metal too, and I really like the look of it. Like this backpack is this plate mail metal, and so is the axe, the handle, that breastplate, that shoulder pad, the joints, and the back here are all plate mail metal with a drop of matte black. All Army Painter. I still gotta do a few things. Like I really want to put blood on that like loincloth thingy, and then maybe like a brown wash over that. Alright, but like I'm not sure what I want to do with this guy. I could have, like, one of the initial ideas that I had was making it a very copper focused armor. Like the see, do I have anything? I have a one with some hammered copper, and I was gonna focus on putting a patina over that using, I think this is the color that I was using, Toxic Mist, as a patina. I think if I added like 3, 4, 5 drops of this with a single drop of green skin, I think that would match patina very closely. I'm not entirely sure what it looks like anymore. I know it's got like a variation of blues and like turquoise. In green. It's like, I mean, it is in general like a turquoise color. I'm gonna look it up really quickly here on my phone. Copper patina. Okay, so it's a very dark turquoise. Well, okay, so there's variations here. Before subtle, more green, more blue. I think the number 2, more green, is very nice. It looks like there's a lot of different variations of patina. The more green kind of fits, and that definitely would be toxic mist with a little bit of green skin and maybe like just a fourth of a drop of matte black to it just to darken it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these little palettes. I have a fan on, which there might be a slight background buzz, and that's because of a fan right over there. No, I can't really do it over that way behind me. Okay, I'm going to shake up the toxic mist. Add that much. Probably shouldn't have done this one first. But it's fine. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of green skin in this one. Tiny bit of matte black in right here in between. Where's hammered copper? Here it is. This is hammered copper. And I probably should have done that first, to be honest. So this is this would have been a good time to do the wet palette. Let's see, which one am I gonna base coat in? Probably this big old brush right here. So yeah, hopefully that does not dry up too quickly. It's got like sorts of junk all over it. So I'm gonna do a lot of this in hammered copper. I'm gonna thin this paint out. That might be too thin. It's very runny now. That's too runny, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I think it might be just a bit too runny. So I'm going to add a bit more. It was probably not enough to change the consistency that significantly, but it's fine. Okay, so the backpack, I'm gonna do that dark iron again because I really liked it, or the light iron with rust. But the rest of this model, I'm gonna try a good amount of copper. Because I think it looked really good, although it looked better as like a detail, maybe. So I'm gonna try to just do like big armor pieces, maybe not all of the model. But it really stood out on that other one. And I'm covering small details. I shouldn't have done the bone, I just had extra paint and I feel guilty about wasting it. Even though, like, Even though it adds up in price, they're not that expensive. You can get a couple more of these. $5 each, maybe. At most, $10. But even then, I think that's overpricing it. Like, probably $7. Doesn't really matter though. Okay, I'm covering other things with it, but that's fine. I think hammered copper plus the plate mail with a tiny bit of black to it is probably going to be the theme that I'm going to go with for my guys, because it looks good to me, at least, and that's all that matters. As long as I like it, nobody else is gonna like it. Unfortunately, that's a lesson that I have taken way too long to just kind of like internalize and actually accept. So I'm way too much of a people pleaser. I'm gonna paint this little charm in the back copper. I don't know what you would call this. I have no idea what it is. Just like 3 coins with skulls on them. Very large coins. Alright, I don't care if I get those skulls coppery, because I can paint over it with bone again. I want to get all the details in the areas where I want copper. And then I gotta be more fine and gentle with the other colors that I want. That paint's a little too thick there, but it's fine. Paint this arm too. I do appreciate how sloppy you can be with painting in this. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to want, like, all copper, but I'm just messing around with all of my minis because I don't know the color scheme that I want yet. So the best way to find out is to just do them. Because one of the color schemes that I originally was thinking of was this one, and then another one was like all white with a lot of rust and blood. It had like the original white armor that the Death Guard had before they got Nurgleized. That's the way that that's the term that I'm gonna use and stick with here. Nergalization. I think it's kind of accurate. And I think I wanted this mace to be bronze at the top. You know, I feel like gold, rusted, copper, and bronze. I guess patinaed. I don't know if it's rust unless it's like iron or steel. Like corroded metals. Metals that don't corrode too much, I feel like are going to be common, or would be common. In the Death Guard, so that they actually have a weapon to fight with. Or just like painting random things, I feel like would be good in copper. This is a lot of copper, but I'm hoping that that's fine. And that the patina will add a lot to it. And a lot of variation, and make it not look samey. Getting the back and then like around the neck and the head is always so difficult. I like shove my brush in there. Alright, almost done with that. Very coppery, look at that. Now, of course, there are small details that I'm going to miss here and there, and things I'm going to end up accidentally covering that I'm going to paint over again. The thing with base coating is that it does not have to be perfect as far as everything I've watched and read. And it's very forgiving. And in the end, if you really don't like the paint that you put on this, you might just be able to like soak it in alcohol or something. I'm gonna rinse this brush off here. I'm actually gonna use some of the soap on it. Shelly got this fancy brush cleaning soap. Yeah, it got really messy here. Very messy. My goodness. I'm trying to get it all out of the base of the brush. So I don't want it getting all messed up, you know? Hopefully that worked. Thankfully these brushes aren't, you know, expensive or anything. These are the cheapo brushes that she got. These, on the other hand, are the expensive ones. Artify. I don't know how expensive, but actually I think these were a gift and they were cheap. So I don't feel too bad about that. So I'm gonna try dampening the brush here. Continue using the same one. I think it's a little too early to put the patina on. So instead, I'm gonna add some copper to other things. Like, I'm gonna add some copper to this guy as accents. Probably should have wet the brush a little bit more. It's not too late to get the back end of the brush a little wet. This paint is drying pretty quick. So much for cleaning it. I'm gonna make this gun, this bolter, copper. So I think that'd be pretty interesting and unique. It would absolutely be destroyed, but this is fantasy, sci-fi. So it's just a coating of copper. That's what's going on. I'm gonna do the regular copper knee pad thingy, not knee pad, shin guard. I'm gonna try to just do it the way that I did it with the last one. Not, well, the very first model I painted. Space Marine, Plague Marine, specifically. And, yeah, around here. A little bit more copper than the last one. I don't mind messing up other parts because I don't really know what I'm doing yet with this guy. Who knows how much copper I want? Because if it looks really cool, then I'm gonna want more copper. Yeah, this shoulder. This one and this one. Both of these Marines are two of the three Marines, Plague Marines, that Shelley was able to put together for me from the remains of the patrol box. Somehow they gave you enough extras to have a total of 10 Plague Marines. If you kit bashed the whole kit together, I guess. She had to cut away things, and I mean, as you can see with the shoulder pad here, it's like broken and literally like falling apart. It does seem against Nurgle's ideology to have copper armor, because copper, bronze, and all that stuff, copper in general and all the alloys, are somewhat antimicrobial. The last thing you want is to be clean around Nurgle. Or as a follower of Nurgle, I should say. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Do I want anything else coppery on this guy? Do I have to go over that copper at all? I don't want to mess around with this guy too much. Maybe the little arm pads, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful with this one. Definitely feel like I've already messed up these brushes, but they are not that great to begin with, so not feeling too bad, but in general I feel about I always find a way to feel guilty and to worry about things. That's just who I am as a person. Apologies. I have to clean this up a little bit because I am messing this up something fierce. Clean, clean, clean. Okay, let's go over the chest plate because I kind of got the chest plate a little bit. Oops. Not clean enough. I think because all like the metal flakes and stuff, or whatever they do, add to the metal paints, really messes up the brushes. That's my working theory right now. Alright. It's not too bad. I'm going to paint over the gloves, so I don't care if anything gets on that. I don't know if I'm going to be putting any more purple. I could make the cloths purple on all the other guys, just so that I have a purple theme going forward, because I do love the color purple. I could make all their helmets purple. I don't know. There's a lot of options for having purple in the army. When I get the other arm all hammery, coppered it up. Ah, shit, I got the shoulder pad. I'm gonna have to fix that shoulder pad. This one is very difficult. I'm not the most dexterous, accurate, or dainty individual out there. I'm very clumsy, lumbering. I wish I was joking. Really wish I was joking. I'm a very large person, taller than a lot of people, even though I'm not that tall. Like I'm 6'1". But like everyone else around me is pretty tiny in comparison. So like, just trying to get in their cars, bitch. Yeah, like see how the bristles are all like spread out. Swear it's because of all the like little glittery stuff that they add, getting stuck deep in there. And since it's like particles, it's not paint, it's not coming out easy. So fair warning for anyone who uses metal paints, you will ruin the brush. If you get it deep in there. That's what she said, maybe? I don't know. So all those three paints are probably all dry now, but let's see. Just wet this brush. Get a tiny bit of black in there to darken it up. Didn't really do much. Get a little bit of green. Oh yeah, that's looking just like a patina right there. That's gonna look good. Yeah, a tiny bit more green. Yeah, that's nice. I kind of want to dry brush with this one. Which means I want to get the brush pretty dry. Alright, I'm just gonna... That's a bit too wet, I think. Just kind of want to like get it in there, you know? But I feel like that's too much. Just gonna like... Yeah, I feel like I'm doing too much here. Just kind of going over it. Clean this brush off. Get some water and I'm just gonna like try to wash that off. Making sure I get it wet so that I can actually take it off because I don't want it to dry while I'm trying to get rid of it. So what you're doing kind of here is mopping it up. If you've ever used a mop. A lot of people haven't. Like I'm talking like a classic mop. I suppose the newer mops have a similar situation where you wring it out, but like it's a little different. Okay, I am washing off some of the copper. It's getting a little rough and it's not, hasn't been on there for that long. Alright, since that guy's all wet now, I'm going to just take a tiny bit of this and just kind of like touch a bit of the tips here. I don't want too much patina. I don't want to like cover it entirely. I just want to like very obvious copper rust. It's a little wet because I just put it on there. Now it's not as shiny, which, I mean, it fits for the Death Guard, which is unfortunate because I do like the shiny copper. Well, Death Guard is all death, decay, and corrosion. So, gonna try to like get rid of some of that. I feel like it's a little too wet. I'll try to take from the edges, dry it out a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, perhaps on this guy, since he's mostly copper, it would make more sense if I just kind of like drenched him in patina. I mean, only one way to find out what it'll look like. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna try to get a lot of the edges. Wash off the brush a little bit. I don't want too much on that mace, just enough. There is a fine line between being too realistic and too cartoony. If it looks too realistic, then it can be a little boring. I used to be a huge fan of ultra realism in video games and stuff for the longest time. And then they started trying to do that, and after playing the heck out of Terra Firma Craft and Minecraft, which isn't ultra realism, but it tries to get some of that as much as you can get realism in a game like Minecraft, you know. And it just gets boring and taxing. It becomes a chore to play those games. But if a video game starts feeling like a chore, then why play, you know? I got a lot on this end. I'm just gonna try overdoing it on purpose on the bottom of this guy, so the bottom is getting rustier, he's trudged through a lot of water. That's helping oxidize it. It's very muted down now. I'm sure there's gonna be little spots that I missed here and there. All back there. Let's get that. The little chains that are dangling down, I want to make sure that they got some. I want little spots that are much more rusted with it than others. I still want most of the accumulation of the rust to be on the bottom of the base. Almost like it's coated in it. That's what the patina does, is that it coats the copper and it keeps it from rusting any further. It's kind of like nature's paint. Because paint can prevent rusting. Not perfectly, but it can. Yeah. it's looking like a dirty penny now. Which is kind of the objective. That's the goal. Whoops. Crap. I actually kind of think that looks pretty good. Sorry about that. What is he even focusing on right now? My thumb. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I don't mind that. I'm gonna let that dry. Like in comparison, I don't know, the purple stands out a lot more. And I did have this idea. Like one of the original ideas, I think the very first idea that I had for the Death Guard was to make them like cyberpunky. So like anything like those tentacles would be glowing, bright neon colors. Their armor would be darker, just to accentuate that bright purple even more. But I decided against it because it didn't feel Death Guard-y, and it would have been way too difficult, I think. Now I could make one of my units like that, just for shits and giggles. I don't know which one though. I do have quite a few because I did get Blight Guard Terminators. Let's see here. I don't know how much I've shown off. Let's see which ones are my Blight Guard Terminators. All the big bases here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And some of these are magnetized. This one's magnetized. This one's magnetized. And this one's magnetized. I primed all of their magnetized, or their currently magnetized weapons, but I did not prime any of those, unfortunately. So these are the weapons that they're going to be stuck with for now. But when I get the chance, I ran out of white primer, which is why these guys were black primed. And I had to paint over them in white just to fix that mistake. I am going to take a sip of this delicious mango citron. Well, no, it's honey citron mango tea. Oh, that's so good. A little too strong and a little too much because I love it. There's a fine line there. It's difficult to find. Alright, I'm gonna clean this brush very well. Best as I can. Anyways, this video has been 50 minutes. I thought it has not felt like 50 minutes, to be honest. If you have any ideas for colors, effects, etc., let me know. Because I would love to try out other things. Like, now that I'm going to be having this copper patina and it is using toxic mist color, I'm not sure what to do with this. Because, like, I think in all the art, this is like a ghostly blue. This, smoke stuff coming off of the giant flail of the Blight Guard Terminator. I'm not sure what to do with that. So yeah, let me know. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end it here because it's been 50 minutes. I don't want to edit a very long video. And I want to actually be able to upload this. So I'm just going to chill out, relax, listen to some videos, some ASMR or something while I paint some minis. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.